Taikara, everybody. Good evening.
Hello, Shio.
We are back home, and it looks as if everything is stable.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. We have exciting news tonight, and that is a tech thing. So it's Joseph's Lane.
We finally got the fiber optic grant, so now we'll be able to stream. Our productivity has absolutely skyrocketed, being able to edit videos, and more importantly, be able to bring the message that Creator has laid on our heart, in our spirit, and in our minds to do. And it encompasses many different things. We are very grateful to be back home, although we do, as always, miss being in Israel. It's a completely different reality than what Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and social media and Tucker Carlson, and it just is a completely different reality being there versus the little mind programming snippets that you see popping up on your screens. So we are grateful to be home. Our cats definitely missed us, and our horses, not our horses, but the horses that we're watching over, need some tending to. And that was one thing about our trip to Israel that I don't know. We can get into it about it later about the horses. Um, but whatever you don't like here, you're gonna love over there.
Well, so tonight, what we want to do first, we're giving thanks and honor to God for having this technological advance that's going to help us keep in touch with you better. So we're going to celebrate together. I'm going to silence my phone.
I'm in the light.
And then we're going to tell you about what we did in Israel, number one. Mm-hmm. Then we're going to talk to you a little bit about the month that we're entering into, the month of Olum.
This is a very, very special month.
And then we're going to make a really exciting announcement. And we have a special guest that's going to help us announce it. And we have some things that may end up in your hands. Who knows?
So, Creator, we give you this time, Ruach HaKodesh, Spirit of the living Elohim, just permeate this entire time that we have with our friends and those that we connect with over the digital smoke signals. And Creator, just bless this time and the people who are here in the chat room and watching across the world. So, where to begin? We should probably begin with Elul, because after all, this is the month of Elul. It was new moon 2 nights ago, August 23rd, was new moon, and it was a very rare new moon because it was a black moon. So black moons, red moons, we're not flippant about it because prophecy talks about things happening on these moons. And if you have been tracking the moon phases, you have seen that throughout the past several years, the moons always end up on certain feast days, appointment dates with Creator a lot of times, and some of them are very significant. But remember that when it comes to prophecy, we should desire prophecy. It says that we should desire for the gift of prophecy. So in desiring for the gift of prophecy, it also takes courage, which ties into Elul, because prophecy is something that if you get how many wrong? One. That's the only margin of error. One prophecy wrong. That, according to Scripture, makes you a false prophet. So, very
it's a serious thing to call yourself a prophet.
Very serious.
Yeah. And by the way, being a false prophet is punishable by death.
I thought you were going to get specific. I think it was stoning or something.
They're stoning out there now, but the principle of the thing is that it's a very serious thing.
Mm-hmm. In today's society, it could be death of character, death of integrity, death of community, death of many things. So this all will tie into Elul, and thank
goodness we have a merciful Father who forgives us. But let's tell them about Israel. Oh, you have my lipstick on you.
I do? Oh.
You can tell we were kissing. Okay, so...
I made me blush.
So let's talk about our trip to Israel. First of all,
there was a lot.
How did it happen? The first mention of Israel recently.
Well, actually, how it began, speaking of prophecy, was we're sitting on the couch, and Laura then looks at me and she says, "We need to get our suitcases out and start getting ready to start packing to go to Israel." Now I looked at her and I said, "Hon, I don't think you've seen our bank account. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how that's. I mean, we've told we can step out in faith, but okay."
I was like, honey, I know. I don't know how this is possible, but I feel very strongly the Lord impressing me that we're going to be in Israel soon.
And within I don't remember the time frame, but we got contacted. Yeah, a few days. We got contacted by the
government of Israel,
and saying that they were bringing 10 other leaders over to Israel for 6 days, and it was incredible, the people that we met from the Lumbee Nation, from the Wakamah people, some of the other Cherokee bands. There's some really incredible people. I know I'm missing some of the other tribes. The Creek, Muskogee Creek, from the Lower Creek tribes, and so it was
Southeast leaders in tribes, and so.
And some of them, it was their first time, and we were able to go to. We went to Kibbutz near Oz,
which is the kibbutz, the little town, very small town, where the
Beavis family.
You may remember the beautiful little red-haired boys and their mother and father, who were all taken hostage on October 7th, and now the only one left is Mr. Bibas, and he has buried his wife and his 2 children, and his sister allowed us to go into the home and see where, just to bear witness. We are here as witnesses of what the aftermath of what occurred. It was horrible. It was awful. Everything was in such chaos. It was very heartbreaking. And to be in that space, literally for the first time, I heard, while I was on this trip, I heard blood crying out from the earth. It was a heartbreaking sound. And I've never heard that before in Israel, although I'm sure it's been there. But it was heartbreaking to go through that mashav and see the bullet holes and be able to tell some of the story just based on the horrific chaos that was there. And also to hear some miraculous stories of people being able to evade terrorists beyond all logical capabilities. And so
that wasn't one of the only things. I mean, not just the miraculous stories, but the person who took us was one of the first responders that was there. And there was one story where it defies all logic when you see the house that was attacked. It was set on fire. It was a family with 2 kids, a baby, and a dog. And the terrorists are trying to get into the house. They're burning the house down. And they were able to climb out a window, mother, father, 2 kids, baby, dog, climb out the window unnoticed, crawled along the hedges, which was probably a good, 50 to 75 feet of hedges. And then from there, hop across the sidewalk in an open field. It's like a little playground field, little shady area, and run to a bomb shelter that's completely in the open and hid in there. And they listened to the terrorists going back and forth and shooting, and
miraculously their dog was completely quiet.
Everything stayed quiet. The dog, the baby, the kids, everyone. miraculous stories like that that we got to hear, survivor testimonies. And like Laurel said, we were there to be a witness to these things and things that just the American media doesn't show.
And to be a comfort where we could. We prayed for the man who was there right after it happened as a first responder. And there were so many of these situations and stories that we experienced while we were there. I wish we had time to tell them all, but there are so many stories, and they're so much more real when you're sitting in front of the person who experienced them, whose cheeks are still wet when they recount them. It's not just a news story. These are things that happened to people's lives. They were destroyed that day. And it's devastating. While we were there in Israel, also tragedy struck Christians and Druze in Syria, 2 hours from where we were, as the stork or crow flies.
We were closer than that when we went up
2,000
to
were slaughtered in brutal fashion. These are not just Jews that this is happening to. And so if you guys have loved ones or friends who are, who are saying, oh, well, it's, just the Jews, which is a horrible thing to say, but it's not. It's not about the land of Israel, because this is happening in Syria.
Mm-hmm.
This is about Muslim people declaring war on anybody who does not believe in their extreme brand of Islam.
That's why they're killing their own people and expanding the caliphate into Syria. And as a part of that, there was the Alawites. They started massacring them. They started massacring the Druze people who traced their lineage all the way back to Jethro, and which is why they have such a strong alliance with Israel and a really strong covenant. And they're some of the fiercest fighters in the IDF. Then we got to meet them and bless them and pray over them and honor them within hours of them being deployed into Syria to clear out the area of the jihadists.
It was really a blessing to us to hear them say, "You've revived my hope," and just all of these things that really helped build their faith and build our faith and give them some solidarity. I'll tell you, I don't know about you, honey, but I fell in love with the Druze people. It was amazing to they have this amazing warrior culture. They are very focused and dedicated to their own. The fact that there were Druze people being slaughtered across the border is they were not okay with it. They were raring to go. They were saying, just let us in. How do we get in?
Not only that,
waiting for the orders. They knew they were coming. While we were there, we got word that they were going to be headed out across the border in 4 hours. And so they were
ready to rescue their people
and not afraid. There was zero fear in those warriors.
One of the guys, typically we blur out the faces of the IDF soldiers because Al Jazeera scans for the faces and then publicizes it. And so
and puts out bounties.
Puts bounties out. So I asked these Druze guys, I said, hey, I'll blur out your faces in the videos and the pictures. And one of the guys looks at me and he's just like, no. He goes, we want them to know what the face of death looks like when it comes for them. And then ate like half of a cheeseburger, a hamburger all at once. Oh no, the video cut out. Why?
It's saying the video cut out, but I'm seeing there are still people on the live, so I don't know.
That might be on RiverWinds.
This is not allowed to happen because we have good internet now, you guys.
Let me see.
So
it says the streaming still.
Okay, so we got to go around a lot of bases. everywhere from the north to the Gaza envelope, all the way down to the south. And I'll tell you, we saw IDF soldiers there who were just, you could tell they were traumatized. Some of them were just holding their knees, like one young woman holding her knees and all completely balled up. Her countenance was dark. She couldn't really look anybody in the eye. And praise God, by the time we left there, her face was glowing. Her smile was from ear to ear. She had new life breathed into her. And
we were over there dancing, doing round dances with the soldiers, and I look over and she's playing one of the drums.
I had given her one of our drums to play. She was, I could feel like a spirit of suicide.
This was at a commando base. These were airborne soldiers.
And this has just been such a time of trauma for them. And
especially when the world is full of misunderstanding of what they're doing, and everybody accusing them of genocide, when that's the last thing that's happening there. There's no other army in the world that sends out a mass text, mass cell phone calls, and drops leaflets telling the civilian population when, where, and at what time they're going to bomb. So it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
The lengths that they go to
and they send out
decrease
knockers.
And they send out a knocker bomb. What's a knocker is? It's a dud that hits the building first, kind of like it makes a scary sound.
Everybody scatters,
and they know that they have like 5 minutes before the actual missile hits. No other military in the world does this. No other military in the world provides 2 billion tons of aid since October 7th, more than the entire time that they've been sending.
I want to say something about the aid. We were there at an undisclosed military base where aid is brought from that area into Gaza. And what does that mean? Okay, anyway. As I'm not supposed to say that.
Oh, your coffee's really good, hon.
Leave my coffee alone. So anyway, we were there, and here we're hearing people complaining about the fact that the United Nations is not making sure that the aid is getting into Gaza. And there have been a lot of people out there criticizing the fact that the aid is rotting in Gaza and it's not getting to the Gazans, and
that the IDF is keeping the aid from going in, when the UN itself has admitted that they're the ones who have held back the aid from going forward. Not to mention the truck drivers who are like, I fear for my life because they get shot and killed whenever Hamas takes the aid.
And okay, I agree that it is sad that anybody suffers, but this is war. They are the ones who started the war. 93% of Palestinians actually agreed with and approved of what happened on October 7th. And thousands participated. Not just Hamas people. Thousands of Gazan citizens, I want to say it was 7,000, but I haven't looked at the number recently, participated, citizens participated, which makes it a little difficult for me, and I don't, maybe others, to tell the difference between a Palestinian citizen and a member of Hamas.
Especially when Hamas told their soldiers to wear civilian clothes.
Maybe they haven't taken a certain promise or other, but the fact is that they began the war, and when you begin a war, you bring a certain amount of suffering upon your citizens. And that is not the fault of the enemy that you attack. Neither is it the responsibility of the enemy that you attack to feed, clothe, give electricity, water, or any other amount of protection to your citizens. And so why there is the collective uproar about Palestinian provision is beyond me. It is not in keeping with the tenets of war, the principles of war, and it's not part of the Geneva Convention. This is not required. Why is it required of Israel? So it was sad to me that the aid was rotting outside of Gaza, but to me, it should not have been going to the Palestinians. It should have been going to the Israelis. Because let me tell you, 4 out of 7 toilets that I visited in the IDF bases did not have toilet paper. A lot of the soldiers are living off of canned tuna
and crackers
and not warm meals, and they're very hungry when they come back from the field.
And that's one of the things that we did was we barbecued for them, sometimes till 5, 6 o'clock in the morning was when we'd get back.
And guess who was paying for those meals, those dinners and those barbecues? Citizens of Israel.
People who donated.
Who have donated. People who have donated, not the IDF. And so there is a high need in Israel. The IDF soldiers, there are people without uniforms. Without uniforms. There are people without protective gear, basic protective gear. And yet, this is the same army that's supposed to use their personnel, their IDF members, to usher in and provide safe passage for provision for their enemy. I hope that if somebody complains about the situation and the provision in Gaza, that you will slap them upside their head with some facts. I'm not saying get physically violent. I'm saying slap them upside the head with facts.
Even the UN last week admitted that 83% of the aid that's been going in since October 7th has gone to Hamas. The UN admitted this after the UN's...
It's fundraising
it's ridiculous
for Palestine. And if you look at the development of UNRWA, and here's what a lot of people don't know, UNRWA was specifically begun for Palestinians. It is a United Nations organization for relief, and yet it's not designed for the whole, it wasn't made for the whole world. It was made just for Palestinians, the enemy of Israel. It was made for them, which is why you don't see enormous amounts of aids flowing into Syria, where the Christians and
the Jews are being slaughtered, or Congo,
Africa,
2 million,
Nigeria,
2 million slaughtered.
All of these different places.
Nigeria, people being slaughtered still today, just this past weekend, over and over again. Same religious death cult ideology. Where's the marches for them? What, does it not matter because they're black? Is that what it is? Is because they're Africans? Is that why? It doesn't matter that they're still being traded and sold?
It's very difficult, you guys, to go over to Israel, have boots on the ground, and not get angry at the United Nations, angry at the liberal media, angry at people who are actually, I feel for the people who are deceived and don't know. This is truly a spiritual battle. So I'll tell you, we got to, and we're going to share a little video with you later at the very end. It's a 90-second video that we put together, a little collage of pictures and things like that, and about what we did. It's called the Good Medicine Experience. And
part of what we did, in addition to working with the soldiers on 4 different bases, was also being able to work with children at a religious village for traumatized kids and Holocaust survivors, which is one of the things that we always love to do, is honor the Holocaust survivor, honor the elders. And then the people who most don't ever think would be the ones that are facing trauma head on. So we have those who, first responders, like literally one of our friends that we met who now owns, I think, 6 bakeries across Israel. And it's connected right there to the one in, not the one in, but Friends of Zion Museum. And oh my gosh, some of the best desserts. But he was one of the first medics that was in the middle of it all. He was at 6:30. The attack happened. Within hours, he was down there in his motorcycle, in the thick of it. So they were the first responders, but also there's an eighth front to this war, and that's information. And that is the information and disinformation and misinformation. One of the oldest tactics in the book for psyops in the military. Now, with everybody having a phone in their hands, you can program people away with your propaganda and misinformation. That's why it's so important. I love one of the things Laurelyn said about trauma healing and everything. And she said that a physical hug beats an algorithm any day. I probably said that wrong. How do you say it? Let's get it straight from her mouth.
I think it was something like, you cannot out algorithm a physical hug.
That was it.
Because I'll tell you, we have been shadow banned. The algorithms are completely against us. Anybody who's outspoken about Israel has suffered the same on social media. We've spent a lot of time and effort building up the social media platforms that we speak from, and only to have them undermined. And so a lot of what we do is not getting out there, even to people who subscribe and who follow and who are friends. And so it's difficult to get to even minister and speak to the people who need it the most. But we cannot be algorithmed. We cannot be silenced when we're standing right there in front of somebody. And I will tell you what, the hugs, I am not, if you know me well, you know that I am not a big hugger. I like my physical bubble. I am spiritually sensitive to the point where a lot of times I don't like to get in people's space and have other people get in my space. My mom is completely the opposite. She hugs the world, and the world is better for it. She spreads her amazing good love and medicine in a way that helps people shed years of sorrow and difficulties in just a hug. It's amazing. But when I hug people, sometimes it's a sacrifice. I don't want to overstate it, but occasionally it can be. But I'll tell you, hugging the people in Israel right now was a ministry that they needed. And you could feel some of them just melt in your arms. So needed. They were just washed over. You could tell they felt the love. They felt the peace. And they were so grateful. So you guys, there were several of you who helped us. Even though the government brought us over, they paid for our ticket and they paid for us to be there for the first week to do their things.
And we asked, can we stay the extra month, because we really felt that we were needed. And just being guided by Creator Spirit, we absolutely were. And it was every day except for Shabbat. And sometimes 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, coming back from 14, 16-hour days. And I was getting to the last...
Oh, but let me say thank you to those who gave and allowed for us to stay that extra month. We didn't quite raise as much as we needed, but we were able to eke through. And we're grateful for you guys. You made it so that we could stay and deliver much needed program to people who were hurting. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And thank you from Israel. We're sending that thank you back.
The last program that we did was you go take care of that.
I need a tissue, sorry.
The last program that we did was at Friends of Zion Museum. If you ever get to Jerusalem, it's a great place to go check out. They have a lot of history there, very multimedia, modern history of everything about Jerusalem, the founding of Israel, and it's a great place to go visit. And we did our program for the 8th Front warriors. And these are the people who, people like personal friends of ours that were the first ones who got hacked videos from Hamas's live streams and watched horrendous things being done to their personal friends and then executed. So these are the people who are on the front line of a psychological trauma, because they're the ones who filtered out what could and could not be seen by the general public. These are the ones who saw things and said, the world can't see this. And so everything got distilled down to 47 minutes of still heartbreaking, horrendous videos. But there is much, much more. And it's a secondary trauma when people are witnessing it and watching it. Even while we were there were refreshing stations where soldiers would come out, and it would help with different therapeutic techniques to help with their PTSD and help with their trauma, sit with a counselor or a psychiatrist. And then when their shift was done, then that counselor or psychiatrist had to go and sit with another counselor or psychiatrist just to unload what they had heard, what they had envisioned in their mind from what they were seeing.
Yeah. When you ask yourself, why is this needed? Understand that in survival situations, in apocalyptic, because that's what they're going through, is a shade of apocalypse right now. In those situations, the most difficult part of it is psychological. And we know this from having been through survival instructor school together. And a month and a half of torture is, like, the most difficult part of it is emotional. And so that's why it's really important to have a very tight relationship. And we want to give
and take renewing the mind to a whole other level.
Yes. And we want to give you the briefest of teachings on Elul. We have a special guest. I'm wondering if we should
put
bring
him on first.
Before,
yeah, it's a little surprise that we.
Yes.
Tell everybody. I don't think that the live stream is working on the YouTube channel, but
is it recording so that it'll be?
If not, we can upload this later.
Okay.
But it's streaming somewhere because there's people watching.
Keep it and upload it later.
Yeah. So we are, if you've read our first book, That's What the Old Ones Say. We're totally switching gears from Israel to our guest because he's in the backstage right now. That's What the Old Ones Say, which was a collection of traditional Native American stories that shows how Creator prepared the gospel among our people, with prophecies of the things that were coming, the things that would happen, and in stories with many of our tribes, that the biblical record also matches the oral history and oral tradition of the Native people. And so we have a surprise guest for you because we are working on a very special project to preserve part of this oral tradition of Native people. You want to read his biography first, and do you want to do the intro video?
Bring him in so they could see him.
Okay.
And we could see if we can make him blush with his bio while we read it.
All right, let's see. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. There he is.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good,
Hello.
good. I'm trying to figure out, make this to where
Hopefully you can hear me okay and see me okay.
Yes, we can see you on this little camera. And I don't know how it looks to everybody out there. I don't know if they get to see both of us. I hope so.
And hopefully my background is not reversed to you guys. It's reversed on my screen. Is it backwards?
reverse to us,
It's
but who knows what
it's
it is
backwards to us.
them.
I'm not
Okay,
sure.
it's backwards to me too, but I could take it off and just have a green screen back there, but
No, that's fine. It still looks cool.
This is a test of whether people can read. This is practice for Hebrew,
yes,
where you start from the right
there
and
you
read to the
go.
left.
Yes.
Yeah, out of Babel.
So
Yeah.
we are very excited to introduce to you somebody you may already know since he's famous.
Oh goodness.
This is Dr. Dan Biddle. He's a behavioral scientist and an HR consultant with a doctorate in industrial organizational psychology. Fancy. He is president of Genesis Apologetics, equipping pastors, parents, and students with biblical answers to evolutionary teaching. Daniel has trained thousands of students in biblical creation and evolution issues and is the author of several creation-related publications. His professional background includes 20 years' experience in expert witness consulting, testimony, and in state federal cases involving statistical research methods and psychometrics. He maintains an executive role in 2 HR consulting and test development firms. While Daniel has been a Christian since age 11, he says his position on the specific chronology of Genesis was undeclared until 2011, when the evidence surrounding the fossil record, dinosaurs in particular, flood geology, and biblical exegesis led him to the historical position on the Genesis account. So, welcome, Dr. Biddle.
Thank you very much for having me, guys. I am so happy to be here and love your ministry and what you guys do. And I would say, kindred spirits is an underestimation. So I love what you guys are doing, and I think we share the same heart to get God's truth out there, because the truth really does set people free, and it can do that in the middle of trauma situations like what we're talking about here, or people can be going through a great life, and the truth is still a freight train that will change people's lives, perspectives, the whole bit. So happy to be part of this.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, yeah, we're really excited about this project that we're working on. I actually pulled up the 1 minute and 30-second promo.
And any of you who are on here right now, you're going to be the first to know that we are working on a little project with Dr. Biddle. Would you like to describe it?
Yeah.
Or show the video?
Either. I maybe I could give a quick thumbnail sketch and then you guys do the video. What do you think?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Great. So gosh, it's like where to start. But the movie that we're doing, it will be our second one in the theaters. We have about 30 million views on YouTube, about 250,000 subscribers. We do a lot of truthing on network and Facebook and TikTok and Instagram and all the different channels. But our main thing is helping people understand that God wasn't playing when he penned through man, through inspiration, Genesis 1 to 11. It's real history. Those things really went down. And that truth is really earth shifting when people understand that it's true. So one of the ways we're doing that later at the end of this year, probably in December, is we're going to be releasing a second movie in theaters called Out of Babel, really a follow-up to our first movie, which was done in 2024. We were in about 1,000 theaters then. But the movie's been seen by millions of people. It's called The Ark in the Darkness. It was about revealing the truth about Noah's flood. This one happened in about 150 years after the flood, the Tower of Babel. But while the movie's called outofbabel.com, you can see the website there. It's really about what happened much later after the Tower of Babel, when 2 groups who were dispersed from Babel, the Europeans and the Native Americans on the eastern seaboard, reunited around the year 1620 and met each other again as distant cousins from the Babel dispersion. And the movie features these guys sitting at a campfire and comparing and contrasting histories through the Walum, which was carried by the Lenni Lenape people. It was 183 glyphs, if you can see that there through my green screen going back and forth. 183 glyphs like this, where they recorded their history. And of course, the very first glyph says in the beginning, the Great Spirit hovered over the water. Then he began to create land masses and then sheeted the upper atmosphere from the lower atmosphere. It's a very much an echo of the book of Genesis, yet it's a completely independent account. So they will discover during this movie that the Europeans, as represented by William Brewster, Bradford, and the whole crew there, who were really well appraised of theology from a European standpoint, meet the Native Americans, and the Native Americans are like, we got your history, you got our history, back and forth, because there's a lot of overlap. There's some differences between the Walum Olum account, which is the early retelling of origins, the flood, the whole thing. There's a few differences and distinctions, but that only leads to the affirmation that they are both true, legitimate accounts. They both have the true history about giants. They talk about Noah's flood. They talk about the garden and the fall, what things were like afterwards. They share history about post-ice age creatures like the thunderbirds, and the Native Americans talked about the naked bear, a fearsome bear species that was attacking their tribes on the eastern seaboard. We know these things existed because Earth is younger than most people are aware of, and those post-ice age creatures lived with man and were attacking them up until about the 1700s. Things like the thunderbirds and the naked bears and things like that. The Native Americans knew these things, and they've largely been obfuscated and pushed down by European historians. So, but there you have it. The Native Americans, they knew about giants. There's over 20 different Native American tribes across America that have very clear documented histories about the giants that are echoed in Genesis. And it's really amazing when, for the first time in the big theater, we're going to show that Native American history and the Bible overlap, and they've been carrying this history since the Babel dispersion for thousands of years back.
That's amazing.
It was an incredible project.
I don't know about you, but it never ceases to amaze me how many people will swear up and down that they believe every word of the Bible, and then as soon as you bring up the topic of giants, they're shaking their head in doubt.
Yeah.
And I think there are a lot of people who don't necessarily look at the whole package and say, you know, either I'm a Bible believer or I'm not.
That is
But thank
so
you.
wise, you guys, and we do see that a lot. We're living in an age right now where there is a lot of people falling away from the faith, and they're doing a la carte Christianity, a cafeteria plan. I'll take some of this, I'll take some of that, I'll take some of this, but no, when it
Yep.
comes to premarital sex and drinking, and I'm going to still do those things. And oh, the giants, that's fairy tale. Oh, the Noah's flood, probably just a little local flood. You know, the Bible was recorded by these ancient sheep herders. What did they know? I mean, we hear that kind of stuff all the time, but God wrote it as He inspired
They
people
were
to write.
reading and writing thousands of years while Europeans were still in grass huts
Yes,
in
exactly.
many places.
Oh, I tell you. So my mission here to the Native American community is that through this movie we are honoring your history and not obfuscating it, like it's been what's been done for hundreds of years. I mean, the Smithsonian Institute directly has been pushing this history out of the mainstream, straight up, and we've got
Yeah.
that all documented. But we're unleashing it and bringing it out to the mainstream, letting people know that the Native Americans really did carry history for thousands of years, and it just so happens it aligns with the Bible.
We are very grateful for your interest in this project, and we have noticed a very concerted effort on actually both sides of the aisle
Mhm.
to clean up history, to whitewash things, to
Outright change history that's been established for thousands of years, especially when it comes to our oral tradition. Things really started to change right around the civil rights movement, when politics really started to shape the landscape of Native culture.
I think we can even go back further than that. When you
Maybe
look
so.
at the fact that a lot of the schools have just completely different stories than what's actually factual. For
Mhm.
example, the kids sometimes are taught that our tribes are extinct. And
Yeah.
That's a
that's
few
not
years ago
accurate.
after we did a program
Yeah.
at a certain school. And the real sad thing is that there's a lot of oral tradition, oral history, customs, songs, stories that'll be forever lost. And the ones that we do have, that many tribes have fought tooth and nail to preserve, are now being changed because, oh no, these stories sound a lot like what's found in the Bible. And that's just because there's a lack of reconciling in the heart. And I mean, the church has to own up to what it did
Yeah.
in its conquest and manifest destiny. And at the time, it was the Catholic Church. So there's even more of a distinction being made of, this was Catholicism that believed that this was a God-blessed conquest. But not all the
Wow.
people were like that. There's so many stories of non-natives who helped natives, and nobody ever talks about them. Nobody ever talks about the non-native heroes that are part of our stories, because we wouldn't have a story if it wasn't for them.
We as Cherokee have stories about the fact that there were many non-native people who, when the Trail of Tears occurred, they lined up along the trail and shed tears over what was happening to us. And that's something
Wow.
that you don't hear very often. You don't hear that outside of traditional circles because there are still many people who are fostering hatred
Well,
and blame.
even the name Trail of Tears isn't a completely accurate
Right.
translation from Cherokee. It's
It's
actually
the trail where they cried. And it's talking about the people who gathered and watched our people forced off of our lands, our homelands.
Wow. Wow.
So
so what you're doing, we just want to honor you because you're validating the native oral tradition, which is by the most part either discarded or thought irrelevant, or in academic circles it's not something that has any weight to it, when our oral tradition has many times been proven accurate and true.
and this is actually, I would consider it an overlap between oral and written history, because this is a written glyph, but it has an oral translation.
Oh, but wait a minute. I learned in college that Native people don't meet the 5 principles of being civilized. One of them is having a written language. But see, birch bark writing on tablets of wood, the Maya and the Inca had writing.
My people.
The Cherokee had writing. The Cree had writing. And many tribes had a written language.
My tribe actually had writing before Sequoyah. I know that Sequoyah is credited, but his family were the alphabet keepers, and he made some adaptations to the syllabary that was already in place, and he publicized it. It was secret. It was, but it was known within the Sequoyah family. And so there are actually writings by the Sequoyah family that verify this in national archives. So, so we are grateful that you're preserving it. Do you want to tell our little surprise to them?
Or do you want to show the
Yes,
video?
I got one more thing to say, then we'll do the surprise thing. It's just an observation, you guys.
Okay.
I praise our Creator because all through history, there has been a sequences of handing the baton to one group, to one generation, to the next, to the next, and the next. And that's exactly what happened with the Walum when in 1820, Olympes, the history keeper of the Lenni Lenape people, who was brought back from an illness by a guy named Dr. Ward, as a way of saying thank you, he unleashed this and gave it to Dr. Ward, this set of 183 glyphs. They couldn't translate it for a couple years, got some experts together, translated it, and when they did, they were blown away because it reflects the handshake for about 3,000 years since the Native Americans came through the Bering Strait after the Tower of Babel dispersion and the whole bit of history, and it's remarkably similar to Scripture. The 3 differences are, and this is kind of funny, the Lenni Lenape are like, hey, we think Satan created the mosquitoes and the big reptiles, and he was the one who sent the flood, and the Bible's like, well, maybe God created all that stuff and the flood. But, all that does is really validate that these differences did exist and emerge over time. But you guys, you can lay the Bible right on top like a transparency on this Walum, and it is incredibly, remarkably similar. And it's not just that the Lenni Lenape, the Cherokee people have origin stories, as you know, Laura Lynn, and other groups. I mean, I'm reading all these books from the Smithsonian accounts, and looking at all these different Native American tribes. They're monotheistic. They know about the one great creator. Like, you don't mess with the great spirit, like the great Manito.
Hmm.
Oh man, the creator that made everything. You better have reverence for that guy. You know, that was their perspective. They knew about demons and angels. They knew about Noah's flood. Oh my gosh, don't even get me started there. There's ironclad evidence from every Native American tribe about the flood. They all knew it happened.
Yeah.
They even called them the same kind of names, no he and things like this. And he floated in a great canoe, and he even let go of white pigeons to go look for land. Does that sound
Yeah.
like anything we've heard before? It's incredible. So yeah,
And I don't
great.
know, but if I
No,
were
go
going to
ahead.
have
Then we'll tell the great surprise. Yeah.
if I were going to lay blame for the flood on somebody, I would, and I wasn't quite positive if I heard correctly that God was taking this one, saying this was me.
Yeah.
I would err on the side of caution too.
Yeah, that's good. I like it. And of course, the great surprise is that we're partnering with you guys in two ways. So the first is we're going to work out a way to include you guys on the introduction of the film, which is going to be incredible. And you're still working through with our director on what that's exactly going to look like. In fact, I just gave him one of my ideas today that coupled along with something that you says, but it's really Brett's call. He's the director, but definitely we're going to stitch you guys in on the front side of the film. You're going to do such a great job. But even I'm equally excited about what you're going to be doing. I think next week, isn't it? It's
And
coming
that
up in the
first
first
one
week
you
of
were talking
September.
about, you guys, that's a feature-length film that's coming out in theaters.
Yes.
So you're
Yeah.
going to get to see it in the theater. You are going to be able to go out and support a Christian producer, a Christian director, a Christian movie,
With
a Christian
with
apologetics.
believers who are actors. It's going to be incredible. And
It's incredible. Yeah.
we looked at some of the directors or the filmers.
The
The
cinematographer's work
cinematography,
is
yeah,
amazing.
some of his work, unbelievable. He's such a talented and anointed
They do a
cinematographer.
great
Yeah.
job, you guys. Yeah.
Go ahead. That you said you were just.
Yeah, so the second part, which is great because we've got costuming that everyone's forensically, there's a frenzy, they're working on that and all kinds of stuff. We're going to be filming at your guys' location, at your house, with some good lighting and everything. And Chief Joseph is going to be our stand-in for an ancient Lenape history keeper, and he's going to walk us through the glyphs on the Walum Olum. And to anybody watching that video, your jaw's going to drop and you go, "Oh my gosh, God did it. He pulled it off. He carried his history through many different people groups." The Bible's very clear. Genesis 10 and 11, there were about 70 different people groups or language groups that he dispersed from the tower, and they went everywhere with the language that God downloaded to each one of those groups. And the Lenape, just like many Native Americans, they carried that right through the Bering Strait, all the way from the West Coast to the East Coast. And you're going to be in this next video that we're going to be doing that should be on Amazon Prime and some streaming platforms. We'll hit YouTube with it. You're going to be teaching a junior group of history keepers how to sing the song and remember the Walum Olum. And because it's really three things. It's the glyphs and the words that go along with them, but they were actually sung and committed to memory that way. So I don't know if you have to sing them or not. That might take some Lenape expertise, but you'll be teaching through the glyphs to a younger group of history keeper so that they can hand it down to generations to come.
What's interesting too about the tradition of singing, it also goes back to the creation story, that Creator sang everything into existence, and we also see reference of that in Creator singing over us, right? He's always singing. Like there's that verse that says that He sings songs of deliverance around us.
Yes.
I mean, it's one thing to imagine. And I don't even have to imagine. I've heard the angelic choirs sing. And it was one of my life-changing events in my life, and
you guys,
and that was
look at
incredible enough. I can't imagine the Creator Himself singing over us.
Look at the weaving of cultures that's happening here, because the Latin term for what you're talking about is called ex nihilo, the God who spoke everything into existence that was not before. And when I read the Native American tribal history about what their view was creation, They refer to the great Manito as the one who thinks and then things become. It's
Manitou.
exactly like what you're saying. He
Yeah.
speaks forth into creation. People say, "Oh, we don't know how God created." Yes, I do. The Bible's very clear. He spoke it into existence.
Yeah,
Plants, bam. People,
yeah.
bam. And it all had that start, right? And then it got corrupted and everything, but it's phenomenal.
One of the things I'd like to ask the people who are watching to pray about is, of course, intercede for this film. The equipment, the people, those who were involved in it, because of course,
And the honoring of the Lenape.
yes, and,
Yes.
Yes.
and yeah, and we're actually we're in the process of that, and have already been speaking with some Lenape elders, which has been a
Great.
huge blessing already in them helping guide costuming. That's a funny thing. This is for Indian country. We always get bent out of shape when people call what
Not
we wear
us
costume. We don't.
personally, it's just
We
a
don't.
native
It's a
thing.
native thing. We're like, oh, their costume. Look at that beautiful costume. And we're like, no, call it regalia. It's regalia. But regalia is a French word that means costume. So the joke's even on us when we try to get our legal.
Yeah,
but
that's great.
but we want to honor Creator to and the Lenape people and all Native people who have struggled to keep their oral tradition alive, even though it's not popular that, oh, this matches what is written in the Bible. Well, it shouldn't surprise us because the Bible is written by tribal indigenous people. And there's a tribal history. Even Yeshua was from the tribe of Judah. He's from the clan of
Yes.
David, right? He was a
Amen.
tribal man. So this is an indigenous, look at this through an indigenous viewpoint for the Native people watching, and be open to hearing from these other tribes what they have done to preserve their oral history. And there's got to be something there then if there's a connection in our stories.
One of
And
the biggest lies that Satan has used to keep people away from a saving faith is to create a false perception that Christianity is a European religion. It's not.
Yes.
Yeah, Yeshua was like you said, he's a tribal member of the tribe of Judah, a son of David.
Mhm.
And it goes back like that. So this is
And even
the
before the
faith of the
Bible reached,
Creator.
and even before the Bible reached Europe, it was in Africa for several hundred years
So
before
true.
the gospel
Ethiopia,
went out.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ethiopian Bibles are some of the most reliable ones today. So yes, absolutely. But we're excited to have you guys on board. You're going to bring a great presence to the film. You already have, and I want you guys to use it as a pry bar to get into communities to share God's truth. This isn't my truth. We just discovered it and we're amplifying it. It's God's truth, and this is a truth that belongs to the native people. We just decided to bring it to film so that other people can be blessed by it.
Well, let's show everybody the little 1 minute 30 second. You could also YouTube Walum Olum, and you can pull up there's a 13-minute version of this, but this is the 1 minute and 30 second version.
Right.
Hold on 1 second.
Wooden tablets with ancient glyphs handed down over the centuries carried the true history of the Native American Lenni Lenape people? Is it possible that this history even overlaps the biblical accounts so strongly that they are actually retelling the same past about creation, the beginning of man's role in corrupting the earth, the worldwide flood, and Noah's role in saving the human line? Join us on this journey to find out.
All right.
And Chief, by the way, the other thing is and I'm going to say this is going to blow you away. I don't care about money about this movie or the book. I really don't. I care about the truth getting out there and getting released. We shipped you guys a crate of books. Give them out, get donations, whatever you want. We're selling the book for like 11 bucks and 95 cents on Amazon or whatever. If you want to do a free offer to your watchers tonight, please do that. We'll get a code or going around. They can send you an email. All I care about is I want the hatch taken off of this truth and people to understand there's a real overlap here. So We're not trying to sell anything. We're not going after money in this movie. Look, all I do as a filmmaker, our last movie, we did 2.1 million at the box office. Our share was $380,000, even though the movie cost us $1 million to make. We shoved all that money, 100% of it, back into this movie. We're just doubling down.
Wow.
And so I want to dispel that myth. You used to think, oh, here we go, you're a filmmaker trying to make dough. No, it's not. I think we're living in some prophetic times here. And it's interesting that the word says, Jesus says, the gospel must first be preached to all nations. And I don't want money to stand in the way of that happening. So this book, you can download it. We're going to put it, we're going to make it available to however you can get it out to your viewers. Just let me know how we can help, and we'll do it in a way to bless your ministry
Thank you
too.
so much.
Yes, we are so grateful for what you're sending us, and we felt like we would be honored to give them out as gifts to anybody who donates for what we're doing in this next phase of our ministry, and that's continuing to minister with good medicine, the good medicine experience that the Lord is doing with us. And so anybody who donates $50 or more, we're asking, if you really, really want this book and you cannot donate $50, you let us know. But if you will put in the memo line, send me the book. That way we know that you heard this and this is part of the response. And we will know that you're talking about the Walum Olum book. And because this video will be up for a long time, so we may not know.
But we'll put the links, the Amazon links down in the bio.
If you hear this in 3 weeks from now and donated $50, we would not know that you were doing it in response to this video unless you put that in the memo. So please make sure to do that. But we will be sending you the Walum Olum book, and you're going to really enjoy it. I love how you have such a critical thought approach to this, Dr.
She was super. She is like this all the time.
I'm a scientist.
She's a scientist by degree.
So I don't.
So
just buy
she's
whatever
super
anybody tells
critical
me.
thinker, and she just doesn't buy anything that's presented to her. And I said, "Hon, just read this. Read the evidence. Read the sources. Read what's here, and then make a decision."
Absolutely.
Also, I didn't want to sign on to something and lend our name to it without knowing that it was something that I believed in. And I am very careful about wanting to safeguard the audience and platform and the people, and not allow wolves into the sheep's pen. And not that this is a wolf project. I have to make sure that it's a sheep project. And so your book is very thorough. It left no doubt in my mind.
And so neither did it me through writing the book.
Questions. It addresses it hits all the points. What about this aspect? What about this aspect? And so it addresses everything unashamedly. It doesn't avoid the difficult questions. And it leaves the reader with a strongly defended argument for why what you're presenting is factual.
And it's not just presenting, but helping to preserve.
That's how I view it too, you guys. It is so honoring for me to see that this has been documented and now it's now getting daylighted. It's almost like the Lord kept this as a secret under the bubble for a couple hundred years but for a time like this. It's just incredible. When you go back and read the books of what they wrote about the Walum Olum by the period scholars from like the 1830s to all the way to 1950, no one really scoured about the credibility of the Walum Olum. But now it's getting some heat because people are like, oh, wait a second, we can't have an ancient Native American glyph record that corroborates the Bible. No, 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 no. Let's go try to debunk that thing. And they tried, and it was a weak attempt. I mean, anyone who reads this book, and this is not a brag on me at all, anyone who reads this book has got to come away convinced it's legit. And because the experts at the time were like, of course it's legit. And these are the scholars from the Smithsonian. They did not question.
And even the tribe itself.
Yeah.
The tribe itself put their stamp on it and said, this is part of our record. This is valid.
For
And
several
even
years,
the Smithsonian who have been involved in cover-up of giant bones, even they have a strong opinion in favor of it. So
absolutely. All their scholars from the Bureau of Ethnology, a lot of guys are just leading. Last night, the guy that wrote the definitive historical work from the European perspective on the Cherokee, Laurelyn, your people, Mooney is his name, wrote a book called The Myths of the Cherokee in 1902. Very thorough book. He, completely blessed the Walum and the things like the naked bear and the giants. They're well documented within that history. So all this is just basically a confirmation and a stamp where we take a very scholarly standpoint of what the Lenape produced, and we take the Bible and we compare them from a very critical standpoint and show. We do have a telephone game going on here, though, because the echo happened and it fades a little bit over a couple thousand years. But ultimately, the core tenets of this are in total alignment with Scripture. There's a few little deviations apart, but that's what you would expect. And the giants is the part that really blew me away. The Lenni Lenape are like, hey, man, when we got over here to these mounds in the Mississippi River, we encountered the big people. We had to make some treaties with some other groups and go to battle with these guys, and we drove them south. And then you can go to different places now and see where those battles happened, completely confirming the Walum record. So it's great news to me, guys.
And when you look at people's propensity, the human propensity to think that the history that you're in, the era that you're in right now, is the smartest era to ever have lived, and everybody before you was cavemen, and that things were probably, other than being not very advanced, they were probably about the same. They had roughly the same type of creatures, etc. It's a very egocentric view of history.
Wow.
That needs to be re-examined. And so when we look at historical accounts, we need to have a critical eye but an open mind. And when we do that, I feel like it's the best scientific and historically accurate, embracing way to examine evidence. And so science tells us that historically there have been species that go extinct. And so statistically, it is probable that that has been happening throughout time. So therefore, those people who say, what is this naked bear thing? There was a woolly mammoth and now there's a naked elephant.
Yeah, that's so true.
Why wouldn't there be a naked bear now that there's a hairy bear? I mean, let's not just throw everything to the curb because it sounds a little strange.
That's true, you guys. And speaking on behalf of my white brothers and sisters, the joke was on us. When we, for centuries, heard stories about the Thunderbirds, most of the white historians just dismissed the whole thing as fantastical fantasy. Like, oh, there can't be giant birds that fly around and pick up deer. That's impossible. There can't be giant birds that fly around and harass tribes and pick up the children and fly off to a cave and eat them. That's crazy. Those things went extinct millions of years ago. That's what modern European science would say. But the Native Americans, go find me a tribe that doesn't have the Thunderbird history in it. They're all knew about it. And when you dig into the story,
or dinosaurs,
documented by,
we showed you
I saw the
a picture of a carving of a brontosaurus.
They
being hunted.
They knew about that stuff. I mean, and then you go back and look at the stories, and the Native Americans are like, oh yeah, we mythologize Thunderbirds. Yeah, we had some spiritual stories about them, but no, we're talking about real creatures too. These giant post-ice age birds, the teratons with 20-foot wingspans and pterodactyl-like creatures, were harassing humans in North America for hundreds of years, and they documented it. And they talked about four
Hmm.
joint wings with bat-like features and reptilian faces. That doesn't sound like a big condor to me. So we're honoring the Native American stories by documenting this stuff and showing it. No, they're reporting real, actual history. And the naked bear, which was a huge, they call it the hell pig, a wild boar with a 6 foot tall at the shoulder stance, weighed as much as a bison, 1,000 pounds, documented in the fossil record. They're like, oh yeah, we killed the last one and buried it along the Hudson River in the year 1790. How's that for a myth? And there's like 8
Right?
tribes along the eastern seaboard that confer, oh yeah, everybody knew about the naked bear, or they call it the white tuft bear, or the bear that had no fur. They had all these different names for it, but like, oh yeah, these creatures were harassing us and killing our children and women in our field for hundreds of years until we had to finally kill them all. You know?
And had an epic barbecue.
Did you know that did you know that there are children in some cultures now, and even in the United States, who don't believe that such a thing as lightning bugs exist?
Wow. There you have
They're
it.
still around.
Yes.
And yet
Wow. Great point.
people are like, no way. Are you serious? An animal that lights up?
We run into that
That
all the
doesn't even
time where God's like, people are like, oh, there's no such thing as a fire breathing dragon. Well, like, have you ever seen a bombardier beetle, a
exactly.
little 1 inch beetle that mixes two chemicals in its stomach and blows out smoke that's 212 degrees to scour away frogs and everything that are trying to eat it? So if God can make a 1 inch beetle blow smoke out of its back end, what about an electric eel?
Yeah.
How's that for incredible? An electric eel that
Right?
generates all these watts in a firefly. The God's mysterious biology
Electricity,
is
yeah, they can shock
way
you
beyond us.
away.
There's
Yeah,
dragons in the Bible.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of strange creatures and centaurs and satyrs and
Yep.
all sorts
and
of things.
why is all of this relevant? To me, it's relevant because there's a scripture that says the things that are going to happen in the end times are going to cause the hearts of men to faint. And so they have some current relevancy for
Mhm.
what we're going to be walking into. And we need to kind of prepare
Yeah.
that whatever we're going to be seeing and experiencing may not be something that is
The norm.
Yeah.
the norm.
Our Lord warned,
And
just as it was in the days of Noah, so will it be in the end times. And we're walking into that
yeah,
right
and we've
now.
got CERN,
Yeah.
CERN trying to dig to the center of the earth, messing with things they don't know.
Stargates and it's all the same thing. Genetic manipulation. We
Transhumanism,
just talked about
AI, what's
months
that
ago.
going to
Yeah.
do? I mean, oh my gosh, you're right. We're
Mhm.
in for a wild ride, but we know who wrote the book. We know who knows the end. And if the Lord got the stuff right at the beginning, he's going to get it right at the end too. He's the Alpha and the Omega, the Almighty One. And I've learned that the things in the book of Genesis are true, the creation, the flood, all that stuff. And he got it so right. And I'm so confident in that I also know he's going to get it right in the end times.
Mhm.
Yes. And hey, guys, listeners, if this is to you out in left field and you were thinking, what in the world are the RiverWinds getting into? This is them talking about giants again and stuff, crazy things. Stick with us. It's always good to have one of those friends that stretches your mind.
Yep.
And we are those people for some.
It's okay to be on the fringes. I mean, we're people of the fringes, right? Buckskin, fringes, and I mean, we're all there. And we're supposed to be peculiar anyway. The difference is that we bring with a peculiarity a solidness with the word. Because don't take our word for it, take the Creator's word for it. And when his word lines up with even the oral tradition of tribes, not just in the Americas, but all over the world, and there's a deliberate plan to try to destroy the word. Even we just watched this thing earlier today, how AI is systematically erasing words from the English language.
It is.
Words such as father, mother, sin, and trying to
Jesus.
trying to remove these words from whenever you're doing searches or whatever. These things aren't even going to pop up eventually. It's a vocabulary genocide.
Wow.
So You guys, thank you so much, Dr. Biddle, for
Mhm.
coming on.
Yes.
And we just want to let you guys know, stay tuned to see when we're going to be launching that. We're very excited about it. We want to share with you a 90-second reel before everybody goes to let you know just to give you this visual of what happened in Israel. It's very powerful. And that's because there was love. There was love in this. And so we want to show you what your $50 donation, 50 or more, is getting in the investment in the kingdom. And we want to say thank you to you, and we're grateful for Dr. Dan Biddle giving you a gift through us. And
Right.
And you've been a huge gift to our people, and this project will absolutely is the solution to any type of vocabulary words being taken away, any oral history being taken away, by using modern day storytelling
Great. Well, let's
to
keep it
preserve the
going, guys.
stories.
Yeah, let's just
Yeah.
keep it going. That would be great. Well, thanks
all
for having
right,
me
let's
on,
take
and
a
I
look.
look forward to seeing that video.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for coming on. We had a great time talking about strange things with
Yes,
you.
we did. That's great. Good.
All right.
God bless.
So what your gifts will be doing is helping us get to Washington, D.C. If you recall, our friend at the Israeli embassy, Sarah Milgram, was brutally murdered. And on the streets of D.C., her and her soon-to-be fiance, Yaron, we visited Yaron's family and gifted them in Israel. And we will be bringing the Good Medicine experience to Washington, D.C. soon, and to help the Jewish community there who experienced this traumatic event of terrorism. So we are grateful to you guys for allowing us to be the arms and the voice and the love of the Messiah in a gentle, acceptable way to the Jewish people. And we're grateful for the opportunity to be an encouragement to them. It is truly just the most amazing
and rewarding
yeah. job in the universe. And we're so thankful for you. And it's very needed. Every time we go, they're just to be with the Jewish people during this time. It seems like they're a dry sponge that says, we needed this just at this moment. Thank you.
So thank you all for being here with us this night. Thank you, Dr. Dan, for the project and the upcoming work that's happening with that. We'll put the links in the bio to Genesis Apologetics and the different projects and films that are taking place and that they've done. And we just want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts, everyone who's prayed for us and interceded for us and supported us as we have been the feet, hands, and mouth and voice of our rabbi, the greatest rabbi who ever walked this earth, Yeshua. We call him Chief Cornerstone Yeshua. And so we just thank you all for everything that you've done from the bottom of our hearts. Pray for this project. Pray for the Good Medicine Project as we put feet behind comfort my people. And we also have some other things that are in the works in the background that we'll share with you as those things come closer. So thank you again. Seneko Kakona, everybody. Many blessings. Until the next update, sign up for our newsletter. Keep watching out for us on YouTube. Hit like, subscribe, and we'll see you again soon.
Many blessings. Dohiga, Sisti. Peace to you.